All right, you guys, Lindsey is about to join us. She is a licensed professional of over 2 decades and is a Redken global artist. And for the past 13 years, Lindsey has been traveling the world, educating stylists and inspiring the industry with her dynamic skill set. She specializes in color and finishing on all hair types. And in 2020 was the L'Oreal Color and Style Trophy winner and won 2022 Big Shot Styling this past summer. So let's welcome Lindsey Olson.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Katie. I am thrilled to be here today.
Awesome. I can't wait to learn from you as always. I love your aesthetic. It's so unique, boho, yet classy. So I'm going to turn you loose so we can get to learning from you.
Thank you so much. I love that descriptor because I definitely agree. I like this boho chic and a little classic.
I love it. Right up my alley.
Yeah, that's perfect. Hashtags, all of those today. So I am so excited to be here, you guys. So if there's one thing that I know that has completely changed my life, it is styling, as much as I love doing hair color. So we're going to get right into it. I'm going to show you how to use the new waivers from Zambia. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to show you because these are pretty incredible. So this is called the Zambia double waiver. So here it is on the inside. I want to make sure you guys can see it. It's a little bit like more this way, a little bit like more rounded looking. And then this is the newer one. And this is the single waiver from Zambia. So as you can see, it's like a big difference in what these look like. And I get asked all the time, like, when would I use one over the other? And to be honest, first of all, you need them both because they're both incredible. And the first time I got my hands on this one, I was doing a video and I swear to God, I ended up prepping like 5 mannequins because I was obsessed with the results. So as somebody who does styling for everything from in the salon to Redken and Zambia, I will say that it's so nice to have something that makes things faster. So if you are with me and you like to speed things up when it comes to styling, type in fast in that chat box. We have the very beautiful Bernadette with us today. We're in the salon that I actually work at, Sloan Stevens Salon, and she's our professional makeup artist, but that's not just the reason why she's here today. She's here because her hair is amazing, and I wanted her to be the model because she has a lot of hair. And I will say, these irons are really good on really thin hair, but I wanted to make sure that I showed you how to use it on somebody that has a lot of hair, because sometimes it's gonna like push it out a lot. So how do we maximize that? As we get going, you're going to see like right now, her hair has been prepped already. So this is the double waiver and this is the single waiver side. So I really wanted you guys to see a strong visual left to right of what these are going to look like. So as we get going, don't forget, I am here. We are live. Ask me all the questions. I want to make sure that you guys get more than you could have imagined in this live with us today. So ask away. So I already did the prep of doing like 3/4 of her hair. So I'm just going to turn so you guys can see what this looks like. So again, this is the double waiver. So I'm going to have her pause right here. This is the double waiver of what this looks like already prepped. So it looks pretty like predominant. This is what you want it to look like before you do any other styling. And we got here by doing first a dry mousse application with Redken's Root Lifter 10. So that is done on dry hair. And if you want to know more about that, I know that I have a video, as Katie was talking about, at the Zambia YouTube that shows you how to do dry moussing. That is like step 1 for all styling. So go ahead and check that out. Not right now, but later. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through what we do next and how we use these irons and how we're going to dress them out to change the look. So I'm going to come in with the Thermal Spray 22. This is the Max Hold from Redken. Now you could do, even though I've already done the Root Lifter 10 on the hair, I still want maximum amount of control for the look. So I'm going to spray not 1, not 2, but like a few sprays of the thermal spray, and then I'm going to like work it through. And if you've ever used that product, at first it can feel a little stiff. So you want to make sure that you work it through the entire hair strand. It's not going to stay stiff. It's going to be beautiful and shiny, but we have to always start with control first. So even though I want this to turn out to be a little bit smoother, anytime you want something that has like body and movement and that like boho chic look, you really have to start with a lot of structure first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one section to show you guys how to use this, and then I'm going to give you options. If you guys like options, say options in the chat box because I'm full of them usually when I'm doing styling. So you're gonna see that we are actually starting on a diagonal back placement with this. And this is super important. What I would suggest and recommend is try different placements when you get both of these irons, because the result, if you go diagonal, vertical, horizontal, or diagonal forward, is going to be so different. So it gives you like literally so many different looks with one tool. So I'm taking that diagonal back parting, and right now I'm going to come in with the iron, and the iron section size depends on the density of hair. The denser the hair, the smaller the section that I want to go. The finer the hair, the more hair that I can take in one section. I'm just going to come in, and I am going to do a off base placement. So I'm holding the hair a little bit lower than, I'm not holding it straight out, and I'm just going to press, and I'm going to release and press. And what I love about this is like, I'm not squeezing the iron. The iron does the work for you. So it's pretty easy and super, super quick. And this is what we're looking for. See how like shiny and poppy it is? This is the control that you want to start with. So it's super quick to do that, but it does have to have the prep on the hair first from that root lifter, and then we go in with the iron. But I know, I talked to a lot of stylists, and like styling, they're always like, how do we do it faster? So now this one I did off base. And as I work through the head, I want to show you, you can change the bases to change your end result. So let's say I take this section here, the one right behind it, and I'm going to elevate it more 90 degrees out of the section. So I'm a little bit more half on base, which is going to give me more volume at the base. And then just press, release, press, and release. Both of these irons are super versatile. So I'm going to definitely do my best to compare them. But like I said, I like them both. But I'm going to give you like a little bit of hot tips. Okay, so now you can see as we actually did that from the front, where we're sitting in a diagonal, this was half on base or off base, and this was on base, but because of the angle, like where we're sitting, it's actually starting to line up together, which if you're going for something more glammy, you want them to line up a little bit more connected. I like working on this diagonal back because if I'm going to go for something a little bit glammy and softer, it's going to give me more of that like soft flow going away from the face versus coming in with it horizontal. So I'm going to drop down one more section as I'm going. And like I said, the size of the section really is going to depend. Actually, I'm going to do two because like I said, she has a really beautiful amount of hair. So because of that, I want to make sure that my sections are small enough that I'm getting the hold that I want from the iron. As I take the next section, what I'm going to do is come in with that thermal spray max hold. And hot tip is always hold the hair up as you're working because you've just finished the section right below it. So you don't want to spray the section that you just did with the product. You want to keep that as fresh and let it cool down. Heat, tension, and cooling are super important when it comes to styling. So again, combing through the product, making sure that the section, especially if you're using the thermal spray because it has such a high hold, is super smooth. If you want a high polish result, everything that you're working on, like it has to be smooth before you bring the iron to it. So same thing if I were doing a Marcel wave. I want to make sure that there's no tangles or dents in the hair so that I can come in. And again, I'm going to hold this one down a little bit lower so I am off base because where I'm at on her deep side, I don't want it to be super, super poppy from the base. But play around with the size of the sections and the angle of the sections as you are going. So I'm going to do one more, and this one I'm going to hold up so it's half on base, so I'm going horizontal. And again, making sure that you're using a comb, making sure that the hair is nice and smooth so that you're not pressing and have a little bit of a tangle there. You can see like this, you could set a whole head, and let's say you're going to do like half up, half down, or down like glam waves. Like everybody loves those accordion waves, the glam wave, the like luxe wave. This is so much faster than ever using a curling iron. And I know I've had my fair share of trying to get that wave to look perfect with a curling iron or a flat iron. And now this is like insanely, insanely faster. Like, so thank you, Sam, for making the tools that make my life so much easier. All right, so now here is my last section on her shallow side. And again, I just want to hold this one straight out. So I'm going half on base. Still going to get a good amount of volume, but I don't want it like super, super high, so I'm not doing on base volume. And just as I'm pressing, just follow where my previous little like movement is from the iron down. So as you can see, this really does make it more, I would say like, it looks more like rounder. So what I love about this one, this is fantastic. Anytime you are doing like a boho, like updo or soft braid, prep the whole hair with this and it's gonna give it that like perfect, like romantic soft texture. Also really cool if you are a guest with a natural curl and your curl is a little bit, you know, like lazy curl and you want to accentuate it. This is super, super cool on natural texture just to put some like extra poppy pieces that are going to last. I'm going to let this cool down and show you guys the single waiver now. So I'm just going to turn her a little bit this way. We'll let it cool down because that's also super important. Anytime you're using any heat styling, you want it to cool down before you come in with like a comb or come in with a brush and break it up. If it's still hot, this is one thing that would make it not last as long, okay? So I know like sometimes like you do a curl and it's like something new and you go like, oh, there it is, and you like kind of break your fingers through it. Well, anytime it's still warm, if you run your fingers through it, it's gonna stretch it out and it might not last as long as you want it to. So again, here is now, this is the single waiver. So you can probably tell already, it's a little bit more of like a bigger like push. So a little bit more of like the deep glam wave, where the other one looks a little bit softer because it has more of that like roundness to it. So there's definitely a visual difference, although like I said, I love them both. I'm gonna come in again using the thermal spray. The whole head still was prepped with our root lifter first. And that's what's giving us even more hold to what we're doing. So if you've ever had something that doesn't turn out, that's feeling like it has a little bit of hold, I'm just turning it a little bit this way. And the other thing I would say too, oh my gosh, this is like major. You guys ready for this one? I'm left-handed. And sometimes when you're doing a glam wave, you really need to hold the iron in opposite hands to get the right placement of it. If you are doing like literally like legit glam waves. Well, it's not that easy to hold a Marcel iron in opposite ways. If you have mastered it, applause to you, but it's not that easy. So, but this, I can easily use this in both hands to easily access everything that I'm doing. So that's also like a major hot tip of like why I love these irons so much. So now we're going in with a single waiver and our thermal setting mix max hold. And you can see this one definitely is like more like poppy, ridgy kind of movement. So this, I feel like has the more like luxe feel to it, if you guys know what I mean, like that luxe feel. Imagine this like on a ponytail, super beautiful. So this one again, right by her face, I did a half on base movement. And as I'm working, I'm still working, I decided to do diagonal back partings on both sides because I really wanted to like have a left and right comparison, but also like show you an end result look. Again, coming in with that thermal spray, but I have done this vertically, which there's another video that lives on Sam's Education, and the vertical, super, super cool. So definitely, like I said, try all the movements so that you can see all the options that you have. This piece now, as I'm working in my diagonal back parting, I'm getting like a little bit wider area. I'm just gonna maybe tilt a little bit like this. So let me bring you a little closer to you guys. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna turn a little bit this way, perfect. So I'm in the front quadrant. It's gotten a little wider, so always split the section to make sure that you have maximum control when you're bringing the iron in. So even if I have like this little piece right here, I still split it. And where I'm working on her head right now, this is more of like her fringe bang area. So I might drop down the iron and have it a little bit, if I was going for like smoother on a part, I could start this section being a little bit lower versus taking it all the way close up to the part line. So again, coming in, making sure that your section is really smooth. So here, I'm gonna bring this one down here like this and kind of skip a little bit at the very front. Again, just press, don't have to squeeze, super, super easy and fast. So now you're getting these really, really strong poppy ridges. Imagine all you have to do is like literally put like a clip in this and like the glam look is pretty much there. I'm gonna take another section, working on that diagonal back parting with the single waiver iron. So here was prepped also with the root lifter. which makes a really, really big difference in any of your finishing work. So hot tip is always to do dry loosening before you're doing any finishing work, and then come in with these incredible tools that are making it so much easier. So here I am, I'm getting higher up on her head. So here's where you think about the options of like, what's the end result look? If I wanted something like really polished, and maybe I'm gonna do something like half up, half down, there is a possibility that once I start getting above the parietal ridge, I would start my waves farther down. So like maybe I don't even go up to the first one and I start a little bit lower like this and keep the hair more natural on the top. So that way, if I'm gonna brush it out, I have more of like the smoothness and sleekness on the top and then have the waves coming through. So you can always change your position of where you start your waves as you're going. Same thing that we're doing in the front here. You make sure that this is nice and saturated with the thermal mist. So this is the Thermal Spray 22. For some of you very familiar with Redken, this is the new revamped styling. This was our hot sets. Combing through the product. And then again, on this one, I'm gonna start a little bit lower and working on that diagonal back section and just press and hold, press and hold. I do have the heat setting on this one. This is also super important. It goes from 280 all the way up to 450. So her hair is quite dense, which is why I have it all the way up to the 450. I also have plenty of heat protection on there. But for my guests that I'm doing this on that have finer hair, 100% turn down the heat. Like it doesn't have to be so much. So it really depends. Like the higher the density, the higher the heat for me. This is the way I like to work. But if she had very fine hair, I definitely would turn it down and just go somewhere below 450 for sure. Like maybe the 280 or 350. So taking that thermal spray, combing it through. And now I'm just going to shut down a little bit. We're on the last section on the very top. So again, if I'm going to do like maybe something where like some of it's like halfway down, some of it's pushed away, I might not bring the iron all the way up to the base. You definitely can. It's super cool, gives a lot of volume. But if you're looking for something a little bit sleeker in the front, you might position the iron a little bit lower so you have the natural hair first, which is also why it's so helpful to prep the hair before you do this, which doesn't take too long. And I always say you have to slow down to speed up. So what you do first to get there is always going to help your end result. So you're not kind of like fixing it at the end. So then coming in, this is the single waiver. Just press and hold. Typically I just like count in my head like maybe 1, 2, 3, just so that I know that the passes are evenly heated up. And then just slide down the iron. And again, like I get asked all the time in styling classes, like how to create like the perfect glam wave. And I know there's been lots of methods out there that like take a lot of work with an iron and you're turning and twisting. And how she's like, I love it. She loves it already. She loves it already. We're not even done yet. So here's like the raw form of it, which obviously like can look cool, but like we want to like kind of take it down to like where we want to, how do we want to change it? And this is, we're going to share with you guys some other hot tips of like, what do you do next? And like I said, one thing to think about is think about like literally having the hair in a ponytail, which I've done this already for you guys, and just doing the ponytail and just making it this like super glam ponytail wave. I am going to come in with the spray wax. It is one of my favorite hairsprays to put on the hair after I set it. So let's start with the single wave side and we'll show you guys some options of how to dress this up. So here's the single wave side, or the double wave side, sorry. The double wave side over here. I'm just going to take the other hair on the opposite side away just to show you guys the difference, and then we can combine them and actually make it the whole look. Again, these are everything. Everybody needs these, stylists and guests. These are the dry sectioning clips from Sanvia. So if you've ever been in the middle of doing a style and maybe the hair isn't totally cooled down or you're blow drying it and you took a metal clip to it, the metal clips will leave a mark, which then you have to get rid of. So this, it doesn't leave any marks. So because I have the fresh finished hair over here, I'm just gonna section that away with that dry styling clip so that it doesn't ruin all the beautiful work that we just did. I'm just gonna lift up a section and we're going to experience the brush out together. So coming in with a little bit of the spray wax. And I always feel that the brush out can go into phases. Everything that you do, like tool wise is going to change it. So if you start with your hands, this is going to be like the softest, like most flexible kind of finish. So if I wanted something more like boho-y, like, you know, looser, then I'm just going to come in and break it up with my hands like this. So I'm just going to use my fingers to start to break it apart, which you can see gives it that loose finish. Okay. If I want to change and start to get a little bit more compression, then I need to add even more control. So then it would go wide tooth comb. So coming in, wide tooth comb. So sometimes like you might not know, like, where do I want to take it? So try using your fingers, then coming in with a comb and see, like, do I like how it's like pushing the waves together? Like, do it, see how different the end result, like I had to like look up and I was like, look how great it looks on the camera. See how different the end result from like your fingers to using a wide tooth comb. And what's super important about this is this is a good thing of the options. So like I said, type in options in that chat box if you feel like you have learned some options already with me this morning. Then we're going to take it a step farther. So if you want even more compression and more togetherness, then we have to like upgrade to, this is the Artist Series paddle brush. It's like the smoothing boar bristle brush. So this, it would be hands, then wide tooth comb. Then if you're like, I want to see like really how smooth and blending I can take this, then go with brush. So there's the levels of how you would take this. So now I'm going to come in and I'm going to brush this down. So again, this is the double waiver side. So see how like it still has this like soft, like roundness to it and all the control that I give. But see how this really, with the boar bristle styling brush, really kind of locks this together. So here is how we would change the tools. So if I want something really, really polished, this is the way that I would go with having the boar bristle brush. So I'm going to take the front now, subsection this away, and start to brush this down. We're going to brush it all out, and then we're going to put this together. That's right. We are going to make this a look together, something super easy and fast. But look how fast like we were able to get through all of the prep, right? So using the boar bristle brush, like I said, we started with our hands. Hands would be loose. Then it was comb. Then it's boar bristle brush. And you can probably see like why like I would love this even on natural texture, because as much as I'm a natural texture enthusiast and I definitely encourage everybody to embrace their natural texture, there are some times that you need a little bit of support, whether it's product support, pin curl support, or thermal support, and you might need to add this within your finish. So a few pieces of this would be pretty great. So I'm just brushing this back to see like where we would want to take this. But I'm loving the movement. And see, like, if this was like an updo, as I'm bringing this back, and I had this like super boho-y updo, see how much texture and control I get immediately just from using this iron and my fingers. I'm gonna add a little bit of shine flash because I want to add some gloss to this. But even the feeling of this, like, see how like pliable the hair is to create so many different looks to it. Let's see what happened on the single waiver side. So this was the double waiver side. We used different tools to brush it out, a little bit of spray wax. And now let me turn that around. So now I can show you guys what happens at the single waiver side. So everything has been prepped, cooled down. I'm gonna lift this up. Come in with the spray wax again. Just one of my favorite hairsprays to finish styling with. Again, coming in with fingers. So see, like we have so much deeper ripples. So if I was going for like the ultimate like luxe glam accordion waves, this would be the iron I would do. The double waiver definitely is going to give me more, definitely can give the glam wave, but definitely also options for more texture, where this is like more intense, like deep accordion style waves, which every event has one guest that wants that style. Or bridal party. So if you do brides, type in brides in that chat box, because this 100%, these two irons are going to totally save you so much time prepping. So I am loving even just like how this looks with my hands. We then increase the control by wide tooth comb. So see like how strong, and again, this was also set on the diagonal back, but play around with your placement. If you want to go horizontal, it's going to give you lots of texture and volume. Vertical is really cool because obviously it's like more linear and gives you like really cool movement that way, especially if the guest has a lot of hair. So playing around with, you know, the principles of your placement of what that happens. Now we're coming in with that smoothing brush and just brushing this out. So see, we have way more like impact here on with the single waiver. So endless options of how we want to work this through. I'm gonna come in with a little bit of shine flash on this one. And I know Bernadette has a lot of hair, but what I love about this is like you definitely can make your guests that don't have a lot of hair look like they have a lot of hair super quick. So let's see, let me turn a little bit this way. Yes. So see, this is our single waiver right here. This is our double waiver. So this one definitely has like a stronger like movement to it. I feel like this one has like that softer, like more boho-y kind of feel to it. I'm gonna move her to the front, come in with a little shine flash, using my fingers. And imagine, I know like, you might've been like, when it first got done, it looked so strong and imprinted. Well, that's a good thing because when you want these soft looks, the hair to have all of this texture, if it doesn't have the strength in the beginning, you'll lose it. So it really has to have like the structure and the strength to start for us to be able to like keep that control over it. So always have to start with all the control. That's why we did the prepping with the dry mousse first. And then we still went in with a high hold of the Thermal Spray 22 with these irons to really make this really big imprint. So I'm coming in with a spray wax. And like I said, like, you know, play around with the irons and see like what works for you. Like you can probably see like if I use my fingers, like I'm getting like all the separation using the spray wax. I'm gonna turn her to the front so you guys can see too, which kind of gives it more of like, yeah, there we go. Like this like beachy kind of feel where as you guys saw when I brush it out, it's giving it more of like the glam kind of look to it. So really like these irons, not only, I know like I think our flyer said like glam 2 ways, and then it's like, I feel like there's like a dozen different ways that we could do this. So just breaking this up a little bit more. I've also done a few looks where I love the irons, of course, but I've combined like a curling iron into it. It was one of the last classes that I did where I took the waiver and actually used an iron on it too, just to combine the looks to it. So don't stop with like one tool. I feel like styling sometimes is like the combination of using that. So this looks super cool. Love it. So much texture, so much volume, so much movement to the hair. So everything from like glam waves to beachy waves. So like, what would we do now? Like, how could we pin this up? Like a million different ways, right? So let's see, let's take some of this back maybe off of her face. Maybe drop a few of these pieces, give her like a little bit of a face frame here. So I'm kind of like when I style, like if I'm doing like a pinning, I like to like get it into place before I totally start pinning everything. So I'll start like looking at the hair using my hands or a comb or a brush, and before I actually start to pin it up. So like right now I'm just pushing some of the hair back to see like where would I want to take the actual end result finish, like how much hair would I want tucked away and how much would I still want to be there when it's left. And I think this saves me a lot of time of like unpinning and redoing. So I'm doing the same thing on the opposite side here. Let me turn her this way. So like, I know in the beginning, you're like, where are we going with this? Like, what do we do? But you have to trust the process of what's happening before we like get into it. So just seeing if I want to like, maybe give like more of like a sleek look like this with pulling one side, but I still like, because we did the iron here, it's not super, super sleek. Like it's still gonna give it like some movement and some texture. And you know, I have like a really great hot tip too. Sometimes like the pinning can be really challenging, or if the guest has a lot of hair, sometimes pins like feel like they're just like gonna pop out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of hair here from the front on this side. You guys are okay if I share with you guys like two different ways to pin it up? Maybe like left and right side. This way we had 2 different irons, 2 different ways to pin it up. So that way, like your time, like you got so much out of one little live with me. So I'm just gonna come in with the spray wax. Again, I'm just using my fingers right now and separating. And like I like what's happening here. Like as I'm doing this, I'm looking and I'm liking the texture. So that's what I'm doing with my hands as I'm spraying and just kind of like moving this back, okay? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the section here that I'm moving back, that I like what's happening there with the texture. And all I'm gonna do is like take a piece of hair, and this one is coming, I'm gonna show you guys, like right at the corner of the hairline of like the nape. So like right at the corner of the hairline and nape. And I'm gonna take this section right here, okay? So we have our section that we're starting with in the front, and then we have this section right here. And I'm gonna come in with a mini elastic instead of a hairpin or bobby pin. And this is really great because you could teach anybody to do this. And I'm just gonna wrap this around a few times like this. And because there's a space between the two, like here, then I'm just gonna take this, and the trick is we gotta flip this upside down. So you gotta go through like the topsy tail type thing. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna bring the hair right behind their ear. So when somebody's like trying to pin the front of their hair back, sometimes, like I said, those bobby pins can be like a problem, and then it's like pushing the hair and it's not laying as flat. Where what this does is it brings it right here. So then, like, the great hot tip is like if you have really short sides like myself, it actually like makes you look like you have a side because it actually puts hair there. So then the hair is living here, and they can do this themselves. And then we can even just drop some of this down. Let's see if we want to do maybe one more. I think one more would be good. So this has been like something that's been super helpful for me to pin hair up, to create different looks, as well as like teach my guests. And trust me, I love my guests to come in with me for special occasion looks, but I also really want them to be able to recreate looks too when they want it at home too. So it's always about teaching. So I'm gonna do the same thing one more time. I'm just gonna turn her so you guys can see. So here's the section right behind the side there, where we already did. And now I need to grab a piece of hair that's a little bit farther away from where I'm at. So I create that separation. So where we're starting, where we're gonna go, okay? Take those 2 sections. It's okay if you have hair out in between. I don't need to gather it all. It's just to anchor it. Now what I'm gonna do is just combine these with this elastic. And like I said, we did the iron here. So I wanted the texture here, but imagine if you did something really smooth here and then you have all the texture down here too. So now that we have that in that elastic, where we're going right here, remember there's a space. So you got to do the flippy thing, because now it's the flippy little topsy tail. I think that's what it's called. I'm not sure, but flip the ponytail, just flip the ponytail. Now it's going to lay really, really close to their head instead of like pushing it out. And I swear, I think I could do like thick hair classes because I have a lot of hair. When you have a lot of hair, you want it to feel super secure. So this probably feels really, really secure, and it's something that you can teach them to recreate instead of using bobby pins. So then it just gives like a really nice like tuck away look, really secure. And then we have all of the movement on the outside, and then it gives it somewhere to go. So like you could detail this with like a barrette, but we all know those barrettes that are like detailed don't really hold the hair. They're like the accessory. So like we want to like secure the hair first. So it's all about control first. So that's one way we could do one side of dressing this. Let me show you one more. So we'll type in one more in that chat box. Okay, something super easy. So I started with a little bit of the hair that is sectioned out, and I want this to just be super soft. So right now I'm just gathering the hair. I'm just seeing how much would I really want to have sectioned out, okay? So moving this and just looking to see the movement on the top, using your hands or a brush or a comb, depends, like we said, how much control you want over the hair. So as I'm bringing this back, I'm just kind of like starting to set up the look, okay? So starting to set up the look, just brushing this back. I'm gonna now come in with, let's see if I got one already set up. I do, okay, perfect. So I'm just gonna take, it's one elastic and 2 bobby pins. I'm gonna show you what that looks like because, you know, that one just expired on me. So perfect timing for me to show you how to do this. You just take a bobby pin, slide it into an elastic, and this is a clear elastic, which means it's usually like a little bit more of a slippery material, which also matters. Sometimes the black ones are really grippy, so it just also depends on the texture of type of hair that you're working on. Everything matters. So now with the single waiver side, if I want to easily secure this, I'm gonna take a little bit of hair out here. I'm just gonna gather this and twist this so that I kind of have like something a little bit softer. I'm gonna come in on one side of the twist here with that, hold on to that bobby pin, and then just bring this on the opposite side like that, okay? So now this is a way to easily like strongly anchor it, kind of make like a ponytail, but then like you're keeping it much closer to the hair. So then if I want to bring anything else over it, now that I've made more of a substance, so if I want to bring anything else over this, but this is our single waiver side, I can come in easily with just like maybe like this is one hairpin. And now that I have that substance from that hairband trick, just take the hairband and turn it into that. And again, like I said, we're doing like half a look because I wanted to give you guys options. So imagine we could either do this half a look or you could do the whole back like this, but you know, might as well make the most out of our time together and give you guys as much as possible in the time we have. So now I'm just using my fingers, and because we did all that prepping, like, see, like I really don't have to do much at this point. The iron does the work for me. So I'm just looking at her from the front. She looks beautiful. Turn her around for you guys can see. So like now we have options of like how we would dress using these irons. Something a little bit softer, a little bit easier to anchor. This was our double waiver side. So we just went in with those little bit of elastics to kind of keep the hair nice and close to the hairline and having this nice and dressed out there. And then on our single waiver side, which I said, like I said, I think this is definitely much more, could be like the glam kind of side to it. We just went in and just kind of like pinned a little bit back with that elastic bobby pin trick and just covered a little bit of it up. Like I said, it's always been super important to me to teach as much as I possibly can to stylists as well as guests, because styling is definitely always like where trends are going to change the most and be the most noticeable and fastest. So your guests are always looking for new ways to restyle their hair, do different styles. So this is a really great way with the irons of how to create multiple different looks. So I don't know, Katie, I think there's like definitely more than 2 ways to do the glam waves, like definitely more than 2. It's like endless like options.
Yeah, I am loving this. I love that you described it too as accordion waves. I think that's so like on spot on describing this to clients, but love the turkey trick too. This, I can't, there's 2 different irons used on Bernie because the look is so like, there's so much synergy here, even though there's 2 different tools used. So
yeah, totally. And I think if I would have dressed like the single waiver out, like more polished and like imprinted, we could have even like a stronger difference. But like now you can see like they are different, but like, yeah, like a little similarities into them both.
I love it. Love your taste. Love your aesthetic, Lindsey. I think this looks beautiful on you, Bernie. So thank you for sharing this. There weren't a lot of questions, so your delivery was spot on. If you guys have questions, drop them in now or follow Lindsey on Instagram and send her a DM. Her Instagram is lindsey.marie.olson, also the same on TikTok. So thank you so much. I love watching you always, and I'm sure you'll be back on here in a few short months. So.
I can't wait, always. So thank you so much for having me. Thank you everybody for watching, rewatching, and sharing. And like Katie said, just send me questions, and I will see you guys all soon.
Awesome. All righty. I'll see you in the green room. Bye-bye.